Welcome to Homebrew by J.W. Martin Real Estate, where we uncover the true stories of what's brewing in South Carolina's local business scene. I'm Joey Martin, and each week we sit down with the ones who are pushing through the grind. Business owners, creators, and community leaders who have fought through the tough times and come out stronger. No fluff, just real stories, smart insights, and a whole lot of lessons learned the hard way. Let's dive in. Really excited to have our guest on here today, Mr. Cory Curtis. He's an IFBB Pro Classic Physique athlete from South Carolina, right here in South Carolina, and also the founder of CobraCor Coaching. He's coached numerous, like 300 client transformations, natural competitors, IFBB Pro Card winners, and Olympia qualifiers. So what a resume. That's quite impressive, Cory.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Cory Curtis. I'm a professional bodybuilder and a coach here in Greenville. Definitely had over 300 transformations locally and nationally and even internationally. You know, I work with everybody. So I've had quite a slew of competitors, but really a long line of lifestyle clients as well, and just really getting them healthy.
That's fantastic. So I know with a resume like you've got, it may sound a little intimidating to just your average Joe, but it sounds like that's not the case at all. It sounds like that's the average Joe's the perfect guy or girl to train with you.
Absolutely, man. So when you do read those things, the people that I help win and I help bring to stage, they start out just wanting to either get that six pack or grow their glutes or get their smaller waist, and then they end up seeing the results and want to drift in that direction. But yeah, I work with, I would say 60 to 70% your everyday people.
That's fantastic. People trying to get back to that high school weight. That's what I hear all the time is people want to get back to their, back to their high school weight. Do you ever hear that during your training?
I hear it all the time. Yeah, because I do get people, they say, I haven't been this weight since high school. I haven't been able to wear these pair of jeans since I was in college. So all the time.
That's fantastic. That's got to be super rewarding, not just for them, but for you too, to be able to help guide them through that process. And that's life-changing, really, and probably adding years to their life.
That's why I do it, because it is more than just physical. I feel like it is kind of a life-changing thing because you see the confidence change. Even the interactions between me and the client will change. I can tell that they're feeling better about themselves, and the things that it takes them to do the small things I require, whether it's the discipline or the habits, it kind of transfers into everything else that they have going on in their life. Me getting to see that and kind of being a part of that is why I do what I do.
That's really cool, man. That's fantastic. Something that I found interesting about your story is that this wasn't something that you'd always done. You've been doing it for a while. You've always been committed to your physique and working out, it sounds like. But prior to starting your own company and being an entrepreneur, you were working in the corporate world, working with nuclear and chemical engineering plants. Is that correct?
That's correct. So I worked at VC Summer, which I guess is an SCENG nuclear plant now. And then I worked as a chemical operator. We made, in the monomers department, we basically made powder that got sent off to be turned into plastic. So you're taking big tanks of chemicals, other tanks of chemicals, and making sure from the inside of the control room that the processes, the pressure, the heat, and everything's going in line to create a perfect product within spec, so they can send it off and do what they need to do. Very boring stuff. Yeah.
It's funny you say that. Early on, when I was probably 19 years old, I actually worked for a chemical plant, and it sounds very similar. I worked with Engelhard way back when, and those huge big tanks of chemicals, and they were making things for water filtration systems. But I can relate. It was pretty long, 12-hour shifts and long shifts, man. And a lot of checking gauges and things like that to make sure everything's safe. I'm sure it's much more important at a nuclear facility that you're checking those things. But How did you, what made you make that decision to switch from that safe, secure, what most people would consider a good job? What made you make that switch from that world over to just transition over to owning your own business?
Oh, that's a great question because you would think I would be a little crazy to do so, but honestly, the hours were killing me, the 12-hour rotating shifts, and then doing something that I just didn't love. There was no fulfillment in creating powder that got sent off to make plastic. You kind
Right.
of felt like you could be, maybe stuck, not necessarily in a cage or anything, but it was very monotonous. I was tired at work, then I was tired at home. It would switch from day shifts for a month. I'd be all to recover, then night shifts for a month. My circadian rhythm wasn't the
Oh yeah.
best. And I just didn't love the job. It was kind of a mental drag. But
Yeah.
transitioning over, I loved it, and I still love it. That's why I do it. I love helping people. And, at that time, I was doing a lot of, my own bodybuilding and physical transformation. And, just something that I felt I had a purpose in. And while I'm sitting there for those 12-hour shifts, if I was able to, carve out a little time to do a diet here or there and see the results and help those few people, it ended up growing to where it didn't necessarily replace what I was making in the chemical operator field. It was about half, but
Right.
maybe, that 30 or $40,000, that first year was just enough for me to kind of bet on myself, I guess you should
Right.
say.
Yeah.
It's like I still had the education. I could still go back. I still had a good reputation where I worked,
Right.
but I just, one day it was mid shift. I just said, I think this is my last day. I'm gonna go ahead and put in my 2 weeks. I gotta kind of scoot on out of here so I can at least see, or else I knew I'd be kicking myself and thinking about it, talking about it, but not taking any action.
And thank goodness you did, because it sounds like it's been tremendously rewarding for you. And there's something to be said for just having a passion for what you do every day. If you wake up every day and or if you're about to go into work at midnight or whatever shifts you have, maybe 7 p.m., whatever the case may be, and you're just sitting there, man, I don't want to go into this place. The last thing I want to do is go into this place right here. And I remember that feeling. And that's not a good feeling to have to think that way. And since owning my own company, I never wake up and I'm never like, I don't want to go into the office today. Do you feel the same?
You're exactly right. As I talk about it, I don't work any less. I don't
Right.
work any less hours than those 12-hour long shifts, but I love it. And I have the flexibility as well. And I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing it for my clients. There's a relationship there. I love to see what I'm creating, what I'm assisting. But I don't work any less hours, I wouldn't think, but I never dread any part of it. I love all of it.
Getting to see people, their confidence grow back again, and just a rejuvenation process, I guess you can see happen to people as you're helping them. That's got to be super rewarding.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about maybe some of your success stories of people who have, and you don't have to give specific names or anything, but just some of your clients and some success stories that they've had.
Well, I've had 2 pretty recently that it's not necessarily, getting a six pack, but, having a baby. One couple in particular, they've tried IVF. They have gone to the clinics, did the sperm motility test, and with the female, they did their test and tried to get the progesterone and estrogen right, the ovulation and everything. But I guess because of certain insurance policies and certain old school methods, I don't do anything special, but I just do what makes sense. And not always do the things that we're typically told to do or the normal route. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. So I was able to help 2 couples conceive. Um, and then along the same lines, a few girls start their period after their competition prep. So that's small things like, well, not small things like that, but like things like that, I really get a kick out of. And then as far as the stage, I've had AJ Wallace, Anton Wallace, just 3 weeks ago at North Americans in Pittsburgh. He got first place in his class, and now he's a professional bodybuilder. So just some recent things that, I just really love, really, I can hang my hat on them and, happy clients.
That's awesome. That's so this goes beyond just showing up and working out. You're getting into a lot more than that. Like it sounds like you're getting into making sure people have accurate blood work and things like that going on and hormonal balance. Does that sound like something that you're helping with also?
100%. 100%. And even with heart health, I could say his name, my buddy Jay, he was an old client of mine. He came back to me with some blood work, and it's one of the things that they don't test for. You only get a certain screening whenever you just get your checkup at the doctor, and they want to make sure things are in range. And in range means like you're not dying. It doesn't mean things are optimal
Right.
or that they're not headed in a bad direction necessarily. And those are the kind of things I like to fix. They're more reactive than preventative.
Right.
There's an ApoA and an ApoB test that's related to your triglycerides that I had him go get checked, and he definitely really needed to. But yeah, it's health, being healthy and sustainable, and your well-being, overall well-being is super important. That's one of the things I do. I would say that competition, even powerlifting, bodybuilding, they don't necessarily go hand in hand, they butt heads. But the people that are going to the extreme and being in a sport like that, it's good that they also have somebody help them do it in the healthiest way possible.
That's really incredible that you're taking that. It sounds like you're really sitting down with the client and having a goals analysis and getting some testing done. Maybe you're not certain people with certain health issues. You could be putting them at risk if they were doing stuff that was too strenuous or something like that. You're taking all of those things into consideration when you're working with a client. It sounds like that's above and beyond
Oh, yeah.
what most personal trainers and coaches would do. So, man, it's a pretty well-rounded offering that you have. What's a process that someone goes through when they work with you?
When you work with me, I kind of need to get your onboarding and everything about you. I need to see if you had any past injuries, if you do have any kind of health issues. Of course, if you're taking any medication, what have you tried before that has or hasn't worked? Your typical day of eating. What are your normal kind of habits? Then, of course, what you look like. Where are you currently? Because somebody can give me their weight. It might be 200 pounds, but are you, my 200 pounds, or are you maybe a different body composition of 200 pounds? Is
Right.
it good or bad? And then, where are you trying to go? And then also so of course I need the pictures because you could stay 200 pounds for 3 weeks, but they may look totally different. If your waist is in half an inch and your legs are a little bit bigger, then it's okay. Maybe gained a little bit of muscle, lost some fat there. So I kind of get all your information. I'll create something for you based off of the things that you like. If you tell me that you like cereal and pizza, you'll most likely see cereal and pizza, within that diet. It may not be every day. It'll probably be every day for the cereal, maybe once or twice a week for the pizza. But I meet people where they are, and then feedback week to week. I either wean them away from that, or you find out that with everything else in line, they can continue to do the things that they love and still get the results that they want to, just for the fact that they're tracking it, they're paying attention, they're cognizant of the things that they're doing, and they have a regimen.
Yeah.
I'm in their back pocket. I have 15 questions I'll ask them every week. How did you sleep? How was your digestion? Are you pooping every day? If not, why? We got to fix those things. Are you been drinking enough water? Small things like that. Just things that you may take for granted, but if you just put your mind on it, we just line up a few things to where you're just running like a smooth oiled machine and the results just come.
Yeah. I think it's important I'm glad you said that about you enjoy pizza and cereal, which pizza is one of my addictions. I think I love pizza.
Oh, yeah.
just, it's glad that you're able to mix that in, because I think it's important with a diet that it's something that someone's actually going to be able to stick with. And it's something that's going to be a lifestyle change, not just something that they stick with for a couple months and then they give up on it because it's such a boring diet or bland. Nobody wants to go through life
Oh
just
yeah.
eating bland food all the time, right?
100%. Yeah. And when you feel restricted, when you feel so restricted, you're more likely to do things like binge or associate guilt with going outside of these strict guidelines. I try to do the opposite, and you get good results from that when you can give people what they want. There's no reason to binge, and I have had my fair share of people that do have eating disorders, whether it's small or big, and regulating that is a big thing. Some people can mess up a whole week worth of dieting in one day where they just can't help it. But if they're eating these things throughout the week, I have my girl Jen, she eats 2 Krispy Kreme donuts with her post-workout, and she has turkey sausage is the thing that she loves in the morning. We've been able to keep all of that in, and just tremendous results. And she'll be hitting stage early next year with very low body fat, a 6-pack, doing the things she loves. She travels. Her and her husband are Jeep people.
Yeah.
So they do the Jeep meetups and stuff like that. So they've been traveling and still been able to enjoy in the places that they've gone. It's, hey, go out and enjoy dinner. Let's
Right.
just maybe avoid dessert or have something cleaner and then have whatever you want for dessert.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of moderation goes a far way to where they don't feel like they're actually restricted and the results are there.
That's incredible. So yeah, as far as someone working out with you, are they coming to meet you on site? Are you going to them? Do you offer online training? What kind of packages do you offer?
So currently I'm a coach first. I will train somebody in the gym, but it's not the first thing I offer. If somebody is coached under me, I do tell them to come see me in the gym so I can make sure they're doing things correctly. And that's just for me and for them to see that I'm a real person. But I would say 90% of it is online or through an app. I
Okay.
keep up with people. If I have you doing, hey, I need you to do 25 minutes of cardio a day. I don't care what you do, just get your heart rate up. You know, if that person's just starting with me, or if I feel they may have a little trouble with adherence, I may ask them to, hey, send me a picture of your cardio times 4 days this week. So they can send it to me on their Apple Watch, take a picture of the treadmill or a stair climber. If they went outside walking with their dog, take a selfie. Let me see that you got a little sweat around the collar. I'm in their pocket most of the time, and that kind of opens the door for them to ask me other questions that they have because there's that open line of communication there. So yeah, yeah. And then so I will train. I have Savannah. I just trained her the past 3 mornings through virtual, where she sets up her phone, hits me up on FaceTime, and we do an hour. She's in Charlotte. I'm in Greenville, but that's very effective as well. She killed it yesterday. She got a little sick. That was my first person to throw up during a workout, so I guess it was effective. It's not the goal, but she was hitting it hard, hitting leg day hard.
Yeah.
As I do offer that, but the thing with training is, I'm all about I like to be fulfilled and feel like I have a purpose. If I'm
Mhm.
just training somebody, I try not to just train somebody because I could spend that 45 minutes or an hour and a half, and then they can immediately leave and almost just undo it. And
Yeah.
then what are they doing when they go to sleep? What are they doing the 3 meals that they have the next day? I have no control over it. I don't know what's going on. And then if I see them again, they could be in a worse place, in a better place. I prefer doing it with the people that I coach or coach people and add the training on top of it so I can, and that's being selfish, so I can see the result. So I can make
Yeah.
sure, like, I want to see something. I need to see change. So that's more for me. But I do offer it.
Okay. Okay. Excellent.
But
So,
you'll have to ask me about it. You'll have to poke around it to kind of get me to just.
people aren't going to have to drive 30, 45 minutes to see you 3, 4 times a week. It's conveniently right there on the phone. They just pull you up on the phone, and yeah, I think that's really cool, really convenient, and makes it easy for everybody. So technology is wonderful in
Oh
many
yeah.
ways. Yeah. So Something I want to talk with you about that's so popular right now is a lot of the weight loss drugs, the GLP-1s and Ozempic's, the one that comes to mind, or semaglutide, tirzepatide, those kind of things that are so popular right now. And even with the movie stars are using it, and you're seeing major transformations in people's lives. I think Oprah Winfrey's a big, really supporter of Ozempic and semaglutide. But what are your thoughts on some of these semaglutide, tirzepatide, some of those products?
I think they're great for some of the population. I think if you are maybe severely overweight, it's great. But if you need to lose 20 or 30 pounds, stay away. Just kind
Yeah,
of make some better habits. But they do control your blood sugar a little bit, and they are very helpful. I'm not completely against them, but if your goal is to like build muscle and not just lose body fat, I also wouldn't go for those because it doesn't necessarily partition as well. You kind of lose muscle and body fat together. But if you're very unhealthy and you need to get down, if you're pretty obese and you need to lose weight, those are just fine. There is, which is a GLP-3. It activates the GLP-1, GIP, and your glucagon receptor. So that's something that I would advise people to take a look into. It's not necessarily, you got to look for it, right? But retatrutide is what I would recommend if somebody is looking for something like that. It has a little bit faster results. And of course, since it activates those other two receptors, you're getting a broader spectrum of help. And I feel like a lot of people, they may use the Ozempic or the semaglutide for appetite suppression, where the retatrutide can just suppress the appetite just a bit, control some of those OCD tendencies, help you
yeah,
lose fat. You can also keep muscle and not necessarily be nauseated or have the lethargy that comes with Ozempic.
yeah, yeah. That's good advice. It sounds like for someone who's severely overweight, it might get them down to a level where they might be able to get back into the gym or get back into a healthy workout routine. But if it's just dropping a few extra pounds, you got to put the effort in, just get the effort and change some habits. And we don't really need a magic pill to make things work. You just need to put in some effort. That's what it sounds like.
Exactly. Because of the look, it has a certain look to it. It has a certain look to it. It's hard to describe the way that you would lose weight without it and the way you lose weight with it. The composition looks a little bit different. And I know women, they love to keep their glutes and their butt and their thighs and these things, right? And the guys, they just want to lose the beer gut. So whenever they start disproportionately losing the things that they want to keep, yeah, if you have 30 pounds or less to lose, then I'll probably choose something else. And you're not doing cardio and you're not tracking, not necessarily eat healthy, but if you're just not tracking it, start with those small things. If you're not drinking even 3/4 of a gallon of water a day, start with that. If you're getting 4 hours of sleep, but you need to lose 30 pounds, let's try to get some of these things in line before looking at your Ozempic or semaglutide for sure.
Excellent. Cory, man, it's been a real pleasure talking with you today. And for the listeners, where can they find you online?
You can go to CobraCorCoaching.com. You can get a free discovery call with me. We can even FaceTime just like this if you'd like. Talk about the things I could do for you. You can kind of tell me where you're at and where you want to go to see if we can work together. You can also find me on Instagram at Cory Chris, my first and middle name, or Cobra Bodies, and you'll see my uh, clients that I post and some of their accomplishments. And you can reach out to me on either one of those as well.
Excellent. And just for clarity, it looks like CobraCor is spelled Cobra COR. Does it have the
Yep.
E on the end, or
Yep.
it does have
No E. Yep.
no E? Okay. CobraCor with no
No
E.
E.
CobraCorCoaching.com for the website. And then Cory Chris, that's CoryChris, Cory Chris, and then at Cobra Bodies. Those are Instagram links to find them. Man, real pleasure talking with you. I'll tell you what, man,
Thanks for having me.
yeah, absolutely. I'm one of those kind of used to kids. I used to be a physical specimen in my heyday, and through used to do a lot of ego lifting and stuff back when I was younger. And I think that's led to I've torn my bicep off the bone on one arm, and it was reattached, 2 knee surgeries, 2 back surgeries, a shoulder surgery, also was in mixed martial arts for a while. So I've done some crazy things to my body over the years, and I'm wanting to get back at it and get my physique back in shape. So I think after the show, we're going to have to talk, and maybe we can put together potentially a coaching program. I'm glad timing's pretty good here. So I'm glad you're on the show with us today.
Absolutely, man. You'll see a ton of benefit, and I think we'll have fun with it too. So, you'd be exactly the person I'd help, and you'd see a wonderful change in the quality of life, even with the injuries. So I love to help.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really appreciate it, because with all those different injuries, you have to be very cautious with the workouts and stuff. And there's like mental blocks there going on. And it sounds like you help me kind of power through those things.
100%, 100%. That's what I'm here for. I got one job. That's exactly what I'm here for.
That's fantastic, Cory. Thank you so much.
That's it for this episode of Homebrew. If it resonated with you or gave you a fresh perspective, share it with someone else who's working hard to make their mark. Subscribe, stay curious, and remember, no matter the challenge, keep pushing forward, because success is brewed one step at a time. We'll see you next time. Same place, new story.